understand what I'm about to tell you, you need to do something first. You need to believe in the impossible. Can you do that?
What do you desire that you can't have?
When I eat a brain, I get visions.
Don't ever come back to Gotham.
You have failed this city.
Jesus, what kind of a preacher are you?
There's about a dozen ways that I could stop you right now. But I don't think I have to.
Because where I'm from, your grandson becomes the greatest hero in the universe.
Now you should at least give a brother a moment to say something heroically clever.
In the future, my friends may not be heroes, but if we succeed, they will be remembered as legends.
Welcome to the DCTV report for the week ending Saturday, May 12th, 2018. I'm Edward O'Hare, nickname to be determined.
And I'm Sara, academic by day, freelance writer by night.
We're here to bring you recaps, news, and commentary for all live-action television shows based on DC Comics.
And for the second to last time of this television season, we have 7 new episodes this week.
Yes, including 3 penultimate episodes.
It's all winding down. We're all saying goodbye.
Yep.
It's a bittersweet time of year.
Yeah. Some sad news and some good news.
The TV networks giveth, and the TV networks taketh away.
Oh, they taketh, baby.
And they take it. They've been takething a lot. Yeah. Fox just foxed things up all over the place this week. Oh, Fox. Never stop being Fox.
Yeah.
What's the oldest Fox show you hold a grudge about?
Ooh.
Like, I didn't research this. Firefly is definitely on there. Oh. Definitely.
It could be The Lone Gunman. No, it's Mantis. It's definitely Mantis with Carl Lumley.
When was that? What year was that?
That was like 94.
That's actually more recent than I thought.
Yeah, it was like, I was in like kindergarten or first grade. But
you were a big Mantis fan?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. There were no superheroes on TV. Like, there was nothing. There was the memory of Superboy and the John Wesley ship Flash.
It was a dark time.
Yeah. I mean, you had Lois and Clark, which was waiting for Dean Cain to punch something. And it happened half the time.
I feel like somebody's going to speak up for True Calling. True Calling is going to happen. Somebody's going to mention it. Undeclared was hard. That was a hard Fox loss. Ugh, they suck. Damn it, Fox. And of course, The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr.
Ah, yes. I forgot that was Fox.
Yeah.
Because he did so much syndication stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jack of All Trades, I think, was syndication. That was post Briscoe. And that one was like WGN, late night, something like that.
Okay. Well, actually, Jack of All Trades might have been UPN. Because Bruce Campbell, I remember, because Star Trek Voyager was like the keystone of UPN for, I think, most of its run. And then Enterprise tried to fill in and just failed miserably. Well,
and he was also kind of the syndication king because he was on Hercules. So, yeah, I mean, that just kind of goes hand in hand.
But I remember Bruce Campbell starring, he hosted the preview show that aired on UPN that was going to preview its fall lineup for the first year. And like, he was the guy. And he was promoting his show. I think it was Jack of All Trades. And I remember like being really excited for him because he was a great host. And then my parents just kind of like looking at each other like, we're never watching that.
Ed's parents, come on, you have better taste than that. Or maybe you have actually better taste than that.
I don't know.
Anyway, Bruce Campbell. Wonder Falls. That was another Fox show. God They had good stuff. They take a chance on weird stuff that people respond to because it's not cookie cutter, and then they just cruelly yank it away from us. With that in mind, do you want to transition to our first show?
Yeah, let's get to our first show. The beginning of this is going to give it away. But, yeah, all right, let's do this.
Okay.
Ready?
Ready.
Lucifer. Series penultimate episode. Quintessential Decker star. Chloe and Lucifer looked into the murder of retired baseball star Forrest Clay's wife. Lucy became obsessed with reminding Chloe that things were back to normal. Charlotte recognized Clay as someone she helped get away with murder and asked Amenadiel to help her redeem herself and take him down. Marcus and Mazikeen came to the conclusion that the best way to get what they wanted was to kill Amenadiel. Last minute reveal: after finding Charlotte shot dead by Marcus, Lucy found a feather that came from Amenadiel's wings.
Listen, I had no idea that the part of this episode I would be the most excited about and moved by was not the Decker Star kiss. I mean, if you had told me last week, yeah, Lucifer and Chloe are going to finally kiss, and you're not even going to care that much because of everything that came before, I would have called you a liar and a little touched in the head. But no. Charlotte Richards, man. Charlotte Richards. Ugh.
Oh.
So this episode made me cry at least 3 times. When I watched it, wow. When I wrote about it for EW, recap available at EW.com, and then when I did the editing on it. Each time I got to that point, I was just like, it was so beautiful. It was a good episode.
Well, I think our buddy Dan at Deke273 may be sharing in that. Because he tweets out, Sarah and Ed are always espousing their love of Dr. Linda on their DCTV Report podcast. I also agree with you, and he tweets it at Rachel Harris. Help to make Lucifer on Fox a must-watch show every week. # renew Lucifer.
They were simpler times. They were more innocent times. More optimistic.
3 days ago.
Memories. But no, seriously, I'm really bummed about this. But Charlotte Richards. So this is what I thought was stunt casting. Honestly, they needed somebody to play Lucifer's mother, and they got somebody who could do it for a couple of episodes. And then she was back this season, and I thought, oh, well, how long is that going to last? And she turned into this amazing narrative arc of redemption and the human attempt to try and be better and failing, but keeping going and picking yourself back up and failing again. And it was really beautiful. And it's Tricia Helfer. I'm really going to miss, well, when I didn't know that this was canceled, I was really going to miss her on the show. I'm really going to miss everybody on the show, but she added so much in a really surprising way. And she did it with such style. And, it was a fitting end for her. But boy, the music cue and Amenadiel and the wings and the whole thing really worked for me.
I would definitely have to agree. Yeah, I thought that was a well-developed character. I thought the way that she also just integrated with the rest of the show, like I feel like she had a moment with every character over the course of this season. And she
was definitely not Cousin Oliver.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we're shoehorning this person in now? Great.
Yeah. I mean, she continued her relationship with Dan, and then she got closer to Amenadiel, and then they had that moment, and then Marcus, you little
Marcus. Okay, I didn't like him before, and now he's killed Charlotte. Oh, you're dead to me.
Now, let's did Lucifer finally actually learn something at the end of this episode? Did he?
I feel like I've been saying that for the last 3 or 4 episodes, and then it just all gets undone by the next episode. But yes, maybe it'll stick.
Yeah.
He called her Chloe. He didn't call her detective.
Yeah.
that feels like a step. It's growth.
Now, when is she going to actually believe him?
I am so hoping that happens by the finale. That we end this season and this show with her actually accepting the truth of what he's saying. I think to do otherwise would be a disservice to the character and the show, and it would have made a season 4 really difficult, I think.
Yeah. So
it would be nice. I would like that. But it seems to me that she is still blowing it off as he's speaking in parable. So, what did you think about her confession that Lucifer was the reason she said yes to Marcus and he was the reason that she then said no? Did that ring true for you?
Yeah, I think it did. I think basically what he went through last week, I can, he basically made the case for why she wouldn't want him anymore, like why she would go with someone more stable. As far as like he was the reason that she left, I mean, I don't know. I just thought that they wrapped that up nicely.
Well, and I think they didn't hit you over the head with it, but when you look at some of the character development that she had throughout the course of this season, she was no fun in high school because she was the child actor, so she didn't go to prom and she didn't have those experiences. She told the bachelorette party bus driver that she wanted to be more spontaneous, and she thought that doing this would make her a more spontaneous person. Lucifer blew really hot and cold with her, so it kind of makes sense that she would have pushed him away. The breadcrumbs were all there. They didn't beat us over the head with it in this confession. And at first I was like, ugh, too easy. But then I thought about it. Well, no, it's there. If you go back and look, it's there. It still makes the Marcus thing. I wish that they had done a little bit more breadcrumb dropping throughout the engagement. So we could see a little bit more of that maybe doubt or that hope that she can be somebody different. I feel like I didn't see that quite enough. But whatever. Bygones. Marcus is donezo. Dead to me.
Yeah.
Also, can I say, when that phone rang and Chloe went to reach for it and she said, I'm just going to turn this off, I was like, yes, girl, turn it. That handsome man is kissing you. Turn that phone off. I was pleased that was her initial instinct. That told me a lot. Because that could have been an opportunity to be like, oh, I have to take this. But then she did. But she had to take it because Charlotte.
Yeah. Now, as far as this week's Whodunit, I don't know why. I really like the fact that that Ella is into like classic baseball history. That she took the time to explain what those baseballs were on the couch.
I did like her absolute horror when Lucifer juggled them. But mostly I sat there and let the sports happen around me.
Yeah.
The sportsing.
Yeah. It's weird. Like they just talk about that he's a baseball player. You don't actually see any pics of him in uniform or anything like that.
The CGI would have been too expensive to CGI him younger and put him in a uniform.
Yeah. I mean, he got the haircut right. Let's,
Is that the baseball player haircut? Yeah. The mandated?
Yes. Yeah, they all have that. Yeah. Them and...
Well, it was interesting. He didn't have to be a baseball player. I thought he could have been any rich man. So it was interesting that they made him a celebrity when I don't know. It didn't play off as much as I would have thought that he could have. It just any rich man I think could have done that. But it added a level of interest. I enjoyed the whodunit more this week than I have in a long time.
Yeah. I think that actually explains better why he would be connected to why he would pay off Charlotte's law firm. That he would be a high profile enough for them.
That's true. You get legacy and you've got that reputation. Okay, I can see that.
Mm-hmm. All right.
And it let Lucifer juggle baseballs. This was a Valentine to fans. I mean, they really did a lot of callbacks to the first dialogue that Chloe and Lucifer spoke to each other, and playing the piano, playing Heart and Soul, callbacks to old cases. I mean, they really, if this is the last time we're going to get to spend with these characters, it was a nice way to spend an hour with them, with some nostalgia and some, I think, not fan service, but Easter eggs for really truly committed fans to sink their teeth into. So was good.
All right.
Good.
I'm dreading this, but we need to get out. We've been alluding to it. We might as well make it official. What was the news for Lucifer this week?
Don't make me say it, Ed. Foxed all over it, and Lucifer's been canceled.
Yes.
Effective next week with the finale.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hugely, I don't know why. I thought it was going to be okay. I really did.
I did too.
We had reported that they were filming scenes. They were working on an episode that was going to be held for next season. So I thought, oh, well, they must have something in the pipeline. They know things. It didn't occur to me that this would actually happen. So, and this just happened. I mean, this news is just a couple of hours old. So I think we're both still reeling a little bit. I got my news at the end of a movie that I had taken myself to and pulled out my phone as the credits were rolling and was just like, oh, son of a bitch. Where did you hear the news, Ed? This is like our generation's Where Were You When JFK Was Shot? Where were you when Lucifer was canceled?
I was in the middle of a horrible traffic jam and glanced at a text from Bill Sweeney. Just, Lucifer canceled. Who'd have thunk? Like,
He's so sensitive in delivering bad news. Hey, you degenerate! That show you love. It's gone.
He didn't know.
Yeah. Well, I will say, #SaveLucifer is trending on Twitter. Fan campaigns like that, they have worked in the past. I don't know about this time. I certainly would not tweet it. It can't hurt.
All right.
But I'm keeping my expectations. Is it bullish when you keep things on the... I never know bearish or bullish.
All right. Let's
bullish?
Let's get something straight. Fan campaigns don't help anything.
It worked for Jericho.
Okay. It's no. Okay. I mean, what saves these are the people involved bearing down and not moving on and insisting that this show needs a home. The thing is, the situation for Lucifer is, I find that I find it to be very hard to find another network or home where this would fit. This is very much a Fox show, where it's a cop show. It's a procedural, but it's with that little edge on it, just enough edge so that it wouldn't work on CBS, and it would shave off like 10 million viewers. And it has that supernatural or sci-fi elements to it. And I think it's too much of a network show to work on a streaming service or on a cable channel.
But just imagine R-rated Tom Ellis as Lucifer for just a second.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be fun, but I can't see Chloe or Detective Douche folding into that world.
No.
That would have to be like Lucifer in a minute, you'll take a road trip.
I'd watch that.
But also, the things that worked against this, it is a third season, which is usually guaranteed, but it had less than 60 episodes. So even if they renewed it, it still wouldn't have enough episodes to like that magic 88 episode number for syndication. And it wasn't owned by Fox, it's owned by Warner Brothers. So Fox was not as incentivized to keep it around.
I still 100% blame Fox.
Yeah. I think there was definitely places. Fox just seems cancel happy right now because they took out Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah,
Nine-Nine.
They took out Last Man on Earth, and The Mick. All of those got canceled yesterday, but they are bringing back. They bring back from the dead Last Man Standing, which was an ABC show. So. Evidently, they're going...
Congratulations to my mom. You got your show back. Are you happy?
So it seems like they're going in more of a family-friendly direction.
Oh, Fox, that is not a winning strategy for you. Yeah, what do you think you are? Yeah, ABC?
We'll talk more about Gotham's chances for renewal at Fox when we talk about Gotham. But
No.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick my battered heart up off the ground and move forward.
Well, let's.
This is not a funeral episode.
Well,
can I propose something, though? I would love to see in one of our off episodes this summer, when we only have one episode to talk about, one new episode, could we do a Lucifer episode where we talk about favorite episodes, highs, lows? Something to think about. You can edit this out if this is a terrible idea.
No. I think
put this on the chopping block.
I think it's worth discussing.
Requiem for Lucifer.
Yeah. I think. Yeah. I mean, the one thing is, there's one episode left, and we know it's going to be the last one. So let's make sure that we enjoy it.
That's true. And there are previews out there for the finale, as it turns out, series finale. What concerns me is that the showrunners did not know it was going to be a series finale, or they didn't acknowledge that it was, or they didn't acknowledge the chance that it could be. So I don't know that it was written with finality in mind, if that makes sense. That is my concern. I have a link to it waiting in my email, and I'm dying to watch it. But it looks like, based on the promo that aired at the end of last week, we're going to have a face-off with Pierce. It looks like Lucifer and Chloe on one side, Pierce on the other, acting erratic and Pierce-like. So, screw that guy, am I right?
Yeah, screw him.
Screw him.
Damn. All right.
Well, on to a show that hasn't been canceled?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Next up, Supergirl. Season 3, Episode 17, Trinity. Brainy tried to project Kara's consciousness into the Dark Valley in an effort to track down the World Killers. James felt conflicted after Kara asked him to break into L-Corp and find out if Lena was hiding kryptonite. Mon-El sulked any time he walked past Kara. Last-minute reveal? Sam screamed alone in the Dark Valley as Rain, now with the combined power of all the World Killers, vowed to kill Ruby.
So this was an eventful episode.
Yes.
Stuff happened.
Yeah.
People died.
Yeah, this felt like a penultimate.
It did. I keep having to remind myself, unlike all the other shows we're talking about that are ending this coming week or the week after, Supergirl's got, 5 or 6 more episodes left?
Yeah.
So it's not the part in the season where we are yet. And I have to keep telling myself that. I enjoyed this. I'm not sure how... There were some plot holes. Mm-hmm. I hate to criticize Supergirl, but just little things like, if Julia was fighting back with her human self, how did she still have her strength? I don't believe Sam does when she is coming and going, and little things like that, I'm not sure that made a lot of sense. But as with most Supergirl, I don't really care about, there's no way Lena doesn't recognize Supergirl as Kara. That's beside the point with this show. I really think it's about the characters and kind of the overarching story. And so I never get bogged down in little stuff. I know a lot of people do, especially with Supergirl. That tends to be, it brings Supergirl's milkshake brings all the nitpickers to the yard, from what I've noticed.
Yeah.
Which is kind of frustrating. Just watch the show. Watch the show.
Yeah. Just watch. It's a fun show. It's a fun show.
Just enjoy it.
Yeah.
The heroics of it.
I liked the whole signs of it all. I thought it was cool, the idea that they came up with, that Brainy, who was...
Well, the whole fighting fantasy with sci-fi. I love that. You've got the witches, right? Mm-hmm. And you're going to fight them with sci-fi. That was a fun way to set up that battle.
Yeah, and Brainy, for some reason, they can't afford the makeup anymore. But
maybe the actor was allergic.
Yeah. But something else is going on there. But I think Sam's story arc over here is tragic.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, a lot going on here.
There are shows that make us feel bad for the bad guy. Mm-hmm. That tends to be the Marvel Netflix way to do it. We feel kind of bad for Cottonmouth, and we feel kind of bad for these bad guys who had, even the Mr. Purple, Jessica Jones. Yeah. there are times where you're like, oh yeah, that's really, so they're doing this really well. Rain is horrible, but Sam has no choice and she's fighting it so hard, and all credit to Odette Annabelle, who's just amazing in this role.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, she's totally going to go on to become the Blight, right?
Oh, yes. Yes, for sure.
Like a Highlander, she absorbed all those powers. That was a bad quickening. Mm-hmm. And Imra and Mon-El can rejoice all they want, but in the end, Kara's going to be able to say, suck it, you said I was wrong, I wasn't wrong, this made it worse. Killing made it worse.
Yeah. Imra was, I don't know what she was thinking. This was...
Oh, dumb.
You really don't like her.
No, I don't not like her. That conflict last week, I actually was more Team Imra last week. Like, killing felt like the right thing to do. But yeah. And who knew James was still the Guardian? Like, wow. Like, oh, that's still a thing? Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. The Guardian's still a thing.
What's he been
James
in?
Is still a thing.
He's been in like 2 episodes this season as the Guardian.
Yeah.
So.
And then he totally sold Kara out. Well, Supergirl out. Supergirl made me do it. She made me break in. James, you could have said no. That's my girlfriend. I'm not doing it. No. You did it, and you blamed Kara. Come on.
Yeah.
I did love that Wynn fixed Alex up with a cool new suit.
Yeah, actually,
magnets.
At Bauer Fett had a question, which was, did Alex and Wynn just have a moment?
They totally did. They really did. It was nice. That's a good duo. That's a good kind of big sister, little brother, friendly, helpful, supportive dynamic there.
Well, Wynn fits with everybody.
He does.
Mm-hmm.
Although last week, that brush with death, I like it when they give him a little bit more depth than wacky comedy guy. So I wish they do a little more with him than wacky comedy guy. But don't get me wrong, he's great at wacky comedy guy.
Question.
Yes.
Do we know, like, is Kara ever going to get drawn into the future with the Legion?
I would love that.
Mm-hmm.
As long as they can get her back, which obviously
I was going to say, would you love it for an episode or for a whole season?
Oh, not for a whole season. I'd love it for a good, no more than 3 episodes. How about you?
What if that was her summer vacation?
If the finale shoots her to the future and she spends the pilot or the premiere next season getting back, I'd be okay with it. I don't like it when they do something cool like that and then they undo it right away. I like to spend a little time with it. I felt like that with the Flash last season with Flashpoint. I felt like they undid that really quickly. But a whole season, you just lose too much of the cast that we love. And if you try to spend time on our Earth, that would probably split the storyline way too much unless they have some way to communicate with each other. I mean, I trust the writers. They could do something cool. Yeah, I'm all about it. I have faith in the Supergirl writing room to make that work.
All right.
However they want to do it. I have a question for you.
Sure.
Can you just buy a Legion flight ring?
No.
Because when Brainy said that his flight ring cost more than the ship, I was confused. Like, you could just get a flight ring on eBay?
Well, no.
Like,
I think that's.
I paid retail for this. It was not clearanced.
I think he's talking about the research and the development that went into making it.
It sounded like it sits in a Costco glass case with a price tag on it, and you're like, I want that flight ring.
I mean, it's government issued, so that's how much it costs taxpayers to make one for Brainy.
See, and I guess that's what I don't know is how do they acquire them? Are they given for meritorious service? Can you just buy it and be like, "Those are my flight ring, bitches"? It was funny to me.
Yeah. When you earn a spot in the Legion, every Legionnaire gets their own flight ring.
So it's like military issued equipment.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. It's like a stealth bomber. Those things are expensive, from what I understand. Yeah. Are those still a thing?
It's kind of the idea where, like, every Air Force pilot gets his own plane.
Okay. Mm-hmm. But you are your own plane.
Yeah. Well, the ring is the plane.
Well, yeah, your body is your own plane. Yeah, okay, anyway. Well, thank you. Thank you for clearing that up. I appreciate that.
Sure.
I did think it was weird that Supergirl and Imra kind of had a moment of celebrating that they saved Julia. You didn't save Julia. she dead. That's like, you saved her from going on and doing great evil, and that's nice, but she dead. That was a weird way to phrase it. We freed Julia, maybe, but saved her? I don't know. That struck a false note with me. On the flippy flip, Kara, in her weakened state, complaining, is this what it's like when humans exercise? This is terrible. Why would you ever exercise? I've never felt more seen. Thank you, Kara Zor-El.
All right. Cool. Was any news for...
Oh, a couple little things about episodes coming up, because as we've talked about, this is not heading into the finale for Supergirl, so we have several episodes. This coming week, Sam's adoptive mother, played by Betty Buckley, is going to be back. She's going to have some information that helps the DEO out with Rain.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, her mom is not a nice lady, so...
No, her mom is terrible. Her mom is horrible. She's the worst.
She's really bad. I'm curious if she will be as unrepentantly awful in this episode. I hope so, because it's fun to just unreservedly hate somebody. So
she's wretched.
She's real bad. The May 21st episode, The Fanatic, we mentioned just kind of the title before. Now we know that in it, someone threatens to out James as Guardian. So maybe that's why he had to wear the suit this past week, so somebody could out him as Guardian, because we all would have forgotten, oh, right, James used to do that.
And then all of National City will go, who? Oh, that guy?
That's a... Huh.
Oh, hey, man, you know, what he does on the weekends is his business. As long as he's not hurting anybody.
Himself or others. Not damaging property. It's fine. So I'm hoping it's not all James-centric, because, as we've discussed, he's not the most compelling figure. We'll see. The May 28th episode, Dark Side of the Moon, Kara discovers, and this is, I guess, a little more spoilery than usual, that part of Krypton survived the explosion. Ooh, and as I understand it, there are comic book ways to explain that. Yes, for me, it explains the fact that her actual physical mother appears in scenes from the finale. So that when I read that, I was like, that makes sense. That article on comicbook.com also told me that Supergirl's parents lived in Kryptonopolis. I did not know Kryptonopolis was a thing. I am delighted that it is now in my lexicon.
Yeah. Well, also, depending on continuity, they also lived in Argo City. But
why would you do that if you could live in Kryptonopolis?
Yeah.
I feel like the TV show Krypton would be better if they were in Kryptonopolis. I mean, it'd just be much wackier.
I think we may get there next season, if there is a second season. But
okay, last thing for Supergirl. Oh, unless you wanted to say more about Krypton.
No,
or Kryptonopolis. I could talk about Kryptonopolis for another 20 minutes. It sounds like a bad theme Monopoly game, like when you can buy your own city as a Monopoly game. Why you'd ever want to do that, because Monopoly is the worst game. The finale of Supergirl is going to be a growth moment for Kara. That she has been kind of naive, and she's been a little bit more kind of girlish in how she approaches things. And in the finale, she's going to have to grow up and kind of assume control of her powers and have a little more, I think, open-minded view of the world there. So we'll see some Kara growth in the finale.
Okay. I don't know if I describe her as naive. Maybe a little adolescent. Just the whole idea of like, I can only be Supergirl that she had at the beginning of this season. But
and I think they're actually harkening back to season 1 and the pilot, and as she was sort of discovering how to be super. And she has grown since then, I agree. But I don't want them to strip away what makes Kara Kara. So
No.
All
right. We got to move it on. We got to pick up the pace.
Okay.
Ready to go. Here we go. iZombie. Season 4, episode 17. Yippee-ki brain, Mother Scratcher. Liv ate raw the brain of an old-school gumshoe who was murdered while working undercover. Isabel had Ravi run tests on her while she binged Zombie High. Blaine got dragged to church by Angus and became inspired. Fillmore Graves captured Curtis and interrogated him for info on Renegade. Last minute reveal, Major confronted Liv and put it together that she is the new Renegade.
Okay, my hashtag for this podcast is no longer hashtag grow the stash. It is now hashtag fix Major. Because, oh my God, fix Major. I don't like this Major. I don't like it. Fix Major.
But you know what? Like, if you follow his growth as a character, it makes sense. Like, the arc makes sense for him to be in that place. You know, that he's gotten conflicted. He kind of drank the Kool-Aid when he joined Fillmore Graves. And the more and more he's there, and the more that's his reality, the more and more he's going to fall away from Liv.
I guess. I know he's been sort of rootless and drifting for seasons. I get that. But this feels to me like too hard a turn for him. This guy was a social worker. Like, this is not... I guess he's still doing good in his own way, in his own mind. But, hashtag fix Major.
Yeah. Well, that's the tragedy of it all.
It's really hard to watch. So we have some news coming up when we're done with this that makes me feel a little better about things, but still yikes. Now, I will say, this episode was such a fun, meta, kind of fourth wall breaking episode. I loved it so much.
Yeah. You talking about the zombie high stuff?
Oh, you know what? No, not even that. I was talking about the kind of the references to hard-boiled cop movies and the winking in jokes and the transitions as they move from scene to scene.
Oh yeah, let's not scroll over the fact that Liv slapped a suspect with a fish. She ran out with a salmon and swung it, hit him straight in the face.
It was a big fish.
Like, what?
No, the best was when Liv puts on the sunglasses, and then you hear the yeah from CSI Miami, but it's just somebody stubbing his toe. Oh my God. And then when they have the whole thing about like he's the big bad, but you can't help but like him because he's so charismatic, and then they cut to Blaine. Oh, just all of it. They did that so many times, and it was so great. I love the fourth wall shattering obvious stuff in this episode. That was fun.
No, Ravi has the best one. It's when he and Isabel are watching it and goes, oh, this is late in the season. They didn't have any money, so they had to have someone explain what happened off screen.
Cut to Clive. Oh, it was great. We snuck in and there were explosions.
I love, like, what's funny is the scope of this show has gotten so big. But, like, I feel like they outright had, we have less money than we did before. We have no idea how we're doing this.
So beautiful. So the brain that Liv ate was the hard-boiled cop played by Enrico Colantoni, who also directed the episode. So I don't know if that helped that he was in it and was directing it, but it was a lot of fun. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I do see that it was wacky in places where iZombie's tackling more serious stuff than it ever has. And so maybe tonally it was a bit off. I don't care. I loved it. It had Clive laughing at dog videos. It was the most pure thing in the world. Never change.
Now, do you think he actually taught Rose McIver how to take on his mannerisms?
I hope so. What's hard for me is I already kind of get, because he was Keith Mars and Veronica Mars. I already get Liv and Veronica Mars a little confused in my head because they are really similar characters and the actresses are a little similar. So to have him there was confusing for my brain a lot. More so than any of the other Veronica Mars people for some reason. Yeah. Okay, one other thing I thought about you. When they're at the church and they did the hot sauce as the Catholic water thingy. I'm going to need you to have the real name for that for me. But that was funny, right? The hot sauce Catholic water thingy?
Yeah.
I am a Protestant.
They spray the water.
Yes. Protestants don't do that.
Yeah, that happens at the end of Easter every year. But,
it's not hot sauce, I assume.
No, it's holy water.
Fair enough.
He showers the congregation with holy water. It's a renewal of baptismal vows.
Yeah, if you try to do that with a church full of Lutherans, they'd be so mad. What are you doing? Put that away. It's unseemly.
Also, I love, like, he brings out his abusive nanny.
Oh. And she sounds like she was real bad news.
Yeah. He just openly says, yeah, I let her do it.
Poor Blaine.
And then just opens her up for the congregation. Yeah.
If you're listening, please, in a tweet, let us know who from your life would you feed to that congregation. I've got a couple of names.
So
on that cheerful note.
Yeah. I'm just going through here. So real things from this. Is the auction still going on for the cure?
They didn't really circle around to that all that much. Mm-hmm. It does make the scratching of people who don't necessarily want to be zombies. I don't know. For me, it lowers the stakes a little bit. Mm-hmm. Like Curtis, that was really sad. Curtis doesn't want to be a zombie, but we do have within our grasp, possibly, it's in play. It's, it could turn up again. But no, I didn't see any movement on that.
Yeah, Curtis. Oh, he was clever. I thought like sending them to Brother Love, that was a slick move. Fortunately, it didn't really work for him.
He tried.
And cool.
And Isabel continues to be kind of fun. She's kind of a last minute addition that could have gone either way, but I'm enjoying what she's bringing. I like paternal Robbie, concerned dad Robbie.
Yeah. All right. Was there any news for iZombie this week?
It's been renewed. It's the one bright spot in an otherwise terrible week. You know why? Because it's not on frickin' Fox. Yay. It's on CW. So yeah, that's great news. You know why? Because it gives them time to hashtag fix major.
Gotta love that bar. Yeah. You gotta love that low bar at the CW.
Well, and the CW needs the extra real estate because they've got to fill Sundays now too.
Now question.
Yeah.
Is next season the last season?
I think so. Because it was really... I guess it's always kind of touch and go, but to me, this felt really touch and go for renewal this year. I'm guessing... they didn't say it was the last season, but doesn't it feel like 5 seasons, you wrap it up? Also, how do you reinvent the show at this point? They've upped the stakes. How much higher do your stakes get?
Yeah, I would say so too. I think... I want to see where they are. I think because last season it was such a huge game changer. I want to see where they end off at this season. I agree that but that means isn't CW also losing Jane the Virgin and Crazy Ex-Girlfriend next year? Like those. That's
true. Yeah, those are the final and they were renewed with this is the final season, and iZombie was not. That's a good point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I guess that's a producer's choice whether that not they want to roll the dice again. But I would hope that even if they're not planning on to be the next season, that they don't end it on a cliffhanger.
Nobody wants that. Nobody wants the cliffhanger ending. It's the worst.
Nope. All right.
Yeah. Tiny little bit more news. I'll go fast. Next week's episode is Insane in the Germ Brain.
Insane in the Membrane.
Thank you. In which Liv eats germaphobe brain during flu season. So that will be delightful. Awesome. And then the finale is called And He Shall Be a Good Man, in which pretty much everybody comes together to help Liv. This includes Major, according to the description, so maybe he comes around. The only people not listed as helping Liv are Blaine, who's off having whatever hijinks with his dad. But, the idea that they need to help Liv, to me, she's going to get caught, right? That clearly is what's going to happen. So, yeah, so I look forward to the team coming together to, rescue her, bust her out, overthrow Kilmer Graves, whatever. It's going to be good, and it's renewed.
Yay! All right.
Hey, we have to go fast.
Yeah. All right. Next up, The Flash. Season 4, episode 21. Harry and the Harrisons. Caitlin convinced the team to ask Amunet Black for help fighting the Thinker, but Amunet needed help recovering stolen metal shards. Caitlin also brought in Amunet because she was getting desperate for help bringing Killer Frost back. Iris wanted to publish an article outlining DeVoe's evil plan for all of Central City to read. Harry was down in the dumps about getting dumb, and Cisco formed a new Council of Wells to try and help him think like the Thinker. Last minute reveal, Iris woke up Barry in the middle of the night to show him that her piece on DeVoe had galvanized the city into help finding the Thinker.
I've never identified with Iris more than waking up in the middle of the night to check your Menchies. Hey, look, it's taken off. Aw, Iris.
So, is she a journalist now?
Edward, you know how I feel about this. She put it on her blog, and the whole city read it. So she's a journalist. Fine. I feel really bad. I want to support female characters. I want to support journalists in my media, in my entertainment. I want to, but God, she's just... Are you the leader of Team Flash? Are you a journalist? Are you a speedster? What are you doing, Iris? What are you doing?
If you sat her down and showed her the Post, would it help?
Take notes. You did not study journalism. I don't think you finished school. Take notes. And the thing is, I am very much a put the information out there. Sunlight is the best disinfectant. I'm a journalist. I'm a journalism professor. Of course I think that. But I don't know. Is telling the city about DeVoe's plan, is that the best option? Question mark?
Well, at River8878, Ashley has a suggestion. She's just finished The Flash. How have they not sent out a ting saying, "You guys look for the wife"? He can't include emotions into his calculations, so let's do this using emotions.
Well, stay tuned for the news, because I have thoughts on that. And I like poor Harry. It's interesting, this season has had two characters on DC shows, this and on Gotham, fighting with the loss of intellect. And that's a scary thing for me. I mean, that really bothers me to see somebody struggling with that. And so poor Harry, graphing at the end of the episode, the smiley faces. I can go over it again if you need me to. I mean, just, oh, Harry. But I'm glad that he still helped. I'm glad that he was able to do it. Also, do you think that the showrunners go to that actor and say, what impressions you got? What haven't you trotted out yet? We want them all.
You know what's funny? I heard Grant Gustin was on the ID10T podcast, which is what Chris Hardwick is calling the Nerdist podcast now.
What? ID10T?
Yes.
Does it stand?
It means idiot.
Oh, that's how I feel about Chris Hardwick. But keep going. How did that guy become the voice of our generation? How did that guy become the voice of our generation? Continue.
Because he talks really fast.
He's the biggest sycophant. Honestly, how can you...
Yeah, but he gets really excited about everything he likes, and that's, I feed off that. I don't know.
Anytime he hosts a Talking Dead episode when the episode was clearly terrible, he's like, oh, you guys, this was so great. Like, I get it. I get that that's his job, but you lose credibility when you're just like, oh, that was great. Oh, Glenn didn't die. That's amazing. No.
Anyway. He had Grant Gustin on, and in the interview, Gustin talked about Tom Cavanaugh, and basically said that Cavanaugh doesn't know how to turn himself off. They have long-running bits that they do with each other while they're shooting, and there's no punchline. The bit is, we need to keep this going. So I can definitely see him just fold into an Andrew Dice Clay impression and just not let that stop for 3 weeks.
The worst impression, by the way.
Oh yeah. Hey, goosh. That's the only thing I can do from Dice. Hey, gosh.
Bada bing. I don't know. That's
hickory. Anyway. But yeah, we got two new Wells. We got the McConaughey, then we got the Dice Clay, and John Pierre, whatever he was. You got the French Wells
with the sad mustache.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you, I was expecting like when they said the Council of Wells, I was expecting like a congressional hall, and there were like 40 of them, and there was someone at the head of the room.
Did you think there would be robes, like ceremonial robes? I did.
Well, maybe not robes, but at least everyone's in suits. You know,
nobody's in a bathrobe.
Yeah. No one's wearing sunglasses indoors. But okay, whatever. This worked. And I thought, it was character munching. It's always weird. Like Cisco and Harry kind of go off where everyone else is like in real danger, and like there's a lot going on in the rest of the episode for like Cisco and Harry to just kind of be like off doing their own thing. But it was fun, so you just go with it.
I like that they're DC's answers to science bros. That they science it out. They're great.
Yeah, and we had Aminette Black back this week.
If she were a regular, she probably would grate, but I so enjoy her every time she pops up. Her style, her accents this week. She had a different one. All of it. She was a DJ. Ugh. God. Good stuff.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned in the news last week that people who knew the comics would kind of like know next season's big bad after this. Was it this episode?
I think it was just by the end of the season. So we do have 2 more episodes after this one.
Okay. Because I was like,
did you have a guess?
No. I mean, the only thing I could think of is like Killer Frost, but they wouldn't do that because they've already kind of done that.
Yeah. No, I think they were saying by the end of the season they would have that. Okay. So yeah. Mm-hmm. I will say I did forget about the bad guy's weird eye penis snake thing.
Oh, Norvok.
With the vagina dentata. Yeah, I completely blocked that out. I was very glad Aminette castrated that because
the vagina dentata?
Yes. It had the mouth. Wait. Oh, is this my opportunity to explain the vagina dentata real fast? I'll keep it real fast.
Okay.
It's a common horror trope that there's a lot of feminist film theory that goes into horror because there's a lot of like fear of mother and fear of women and fear of sexuality and body horror. But there's a big trope of the mouth with teeth, that men are afraid of the vagina with teeth, right? But in horror, that's expressed as the thing. Right? When they have their hands on the stomach of the guy they're operating on and the teeth, that's a vagina dentata. The Sarlacc pit is a vagina dentata. So anytime in horror you have, I've said that 18 more times on this podcast than I expected to tonight, but you see it in horror a lot because it's one of those subconscious Freudian fears that expresses itself on film pretty often. And that little snake eye thing, 100% vagina dentata.
Okay.
This lesson has been brought to you by my graduate studies in feminist film theory. You're welcome.
Okay. I learned all about like scopophilia when we watched Peeping Tom, but like
it's part of that whole school of thought, this pleasure in looking and then fear of the woman and fear of the mother and things like that. I have a whole PowerPoint where I put examples of vagina dentata in pop culture up for my class. It's a day that either you'll remember forever or you will remember forever, depending on your perspective in that class. So for more discussion of scopophilia and vagina dentata, visit Ed and Sara Cinemaphile, coming soon.
Mm-hmm. But by the way, go watch Peeping Tom or any movie by Michael Powell, just please.
I haven't seen Peeping
Narcissus. Tom. Mm-hmm.
I'll do that.
Oh yeah, banned in Britain, and it ended that director's career, which is a shame because he was an incredible director.
In exchange, can I recommend that everybody seeks out Della Morte Della More or Cemetery Man in English with a young Rupert Everett? Ugh, amazing horror. Great stuff.
Cool. Nice recos. All right. I think the fact that we're talking about other stuff means we've kind of covered Flash. Is there anything else or any news?
So this week's episode, Think Fast. Barry considers facing DeVoe by himself because that's gone so well for him in the past. Mm-hmm. And
he and Ollie have got to chat more often.
Oh my god. Was it Ashley's tweet about looking for Marlies?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. You wanted me to lead on that.
No, it's okay. Per that tweet, Iris is going to actually start crowdsourcing the hunt for Marlies. She's going to ask people on her blog to keep an eye out for Marlies. And at first, Barry's going to resist that idea, but I'm guessing in the end, he's going to come around to see it her way because we are the Flash. So, sorry. So yeah,
we are the Flash. Stop it.
You know that's the name of the finale, right, Ed? You know that's the title of the finale. I feel bad dinging Flash for that because on Arrow, when Oliver pushes people away and says it's a solo mission, he needs to do it on his own, I get irritated with Oliver because I feel like we are Arrow, right? Like it takes the team to be Arrow, but nobody says we are Arrow. Ugh. Anyway, Digital Spy has a fun little article about Mystery Girl, running down what we know about her, the clues they've given so far, and then giving some suggestions for who Mystery Girl could be. Some of them are pretty standard, Barry and Iris' daughter, granddaughter, etc. But two suggestions I super love. Number one, Savitar's daughter. Come on! Then she's Barry's kid, but like evil scarred Barry. That'd be great. Number two, Sarah Diggle, out for revenge because Flash erased her from the freaking timeline. So, I thought that was fun. Digital Spy, check it out.
Wow. Sarah Diggle. No one's going to see that coming.
They will not if Digital Spy did.
No, okay. All right, cool. All right, we got to move.
Yes.
All right, sorry. Next up, Krypton. Season 1, Episode 8, Savage Night. After learning that the Brainiac-controlled voice of Rao was sucking energy out of the Genesis chambers, Lyta and Seg set out to find Dev in the mountains and use his implant to infiltrate the Red Shard. Druzad brought Grandma Jaina along to ask Jax-Ur for Black Zero manpower to attack the voice of Rao. Adam Strange reflected on the lack of confidence others had in his mission and doubled down, trying to make a deal with Darren Vex to save Seg from Kandor's fate. Last-minute reveal, Adam saved Seg and friends from Ona, who had been turned into a bomb by Brainiac, and got transported to a dark city street with no one around but a blonde woman with shifty eyes.
Never trust those blonde women with shifty eyes. They're bad news.
Yeah, I got nothing. I got nothing on who that is. I don't know what that is. What's going on there? But we did meet some important people to Adam Strange, or we didn't meet them. We just heard them. So Sarah, tell me everything you know about Sardath and Alana.
I'm gonna bring it. Sardath, Rand's greatest scientist, began using a Zeta beam to bring Earthman Adam Strange to Rand so he could mate with Sardath's daughter, the Princess Alana. Yeah, so here's the thing. Adam Strange talked to these strange disembodied voices. Oh, I'm sorry. What is Rand, you ask? It's the third planet in the Alpha Centauri, A system, approximately 4.2 light years away from our own solar system. I say to my husband, hey, who dis? And he doesn't really answer, comes back a couple hours later and slaps down a mid-80s roster book for the DC Heroes system of role-playing, I believe, that he has been reading religiously since the mid-80s, and opened it to the entry on Sardath and his daughter Alana. So now I have more information than I require about who those disembodied voices are. And he told me, in all seriousness, I really need to read this to be up on my podcast. So I now have classic DC Heroes. I have the character handbook. I have the rules manual, all of it at my disposal. Ask me how.
Yeah, who's who? So that was a series of binders they put out in the mid '80s, like before I was born. Like those are things of legend you always hear about that never really tracked down.
I'll ask him. He's got such strange, weird. He might very well actually. So. Anyway, I think it's the part of Krypton I liked the most this week was getting to discuss DC role-playing statistics with my husband. Because you know what? Guess what Krypton did to me again? 40 minutes of talky, and then 5 minutes of holy shit.
Well,
they blew up that girl. That little orphan child was a bomb. Damn, Krypton.
Poor Chem.
Well, let's say poor Ona first, but then poor Chem.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like, she's a bit of an idiot. Like, she got...
She is a child, you monster.
She let herself get brainwashed. She just went with the flow, and look where it got her, That was horrible.
You're a bad person, and you should feel bad.
That was horrible.
That little child who lost her mother deserved what she got. Edward O'Hare. Send him the tweets.
So yeah. We found out that Dev is still alive somehow.
That surprised me. That one took me by surprise. I did not see that coming.
Aren't you supposed to die within half an hour if you're in the mountains alone?
Yes, I would 100%. It would take me 5 minutes. I'd fall in a crevasse.
He's left out to the elements like that. The whole arm was probably gushing blood, or even if it was...
I was going to say, and then he's got that arm thing.
Even if it was cauterized, the freeze burn. The frostbite alone.
It just feels like a good time to lay down, take a nap, and never get back up.
The Val-El, for a guy who's, for a projection of a dead guy, he's good. He's good.
He had some of the clunkier dialogue this week. I'm an L. I always find a way. All right. Pump your brakes, man. Can you explain to me why science fiction has such a thing against railings? Is it because they don't have OSHA? There are never railings when there are big, huge, multi-story drops. No railings. We don't need those. We're science fiction. Why?
It's an aesthetic.
A death by falling aesthetic.
Railings would ruin the ambiance.
It would really disrupt the lines.
Yeah.
And the screams of my minions when they take a step back and they just tumble.
I guarantee you that Bill Sweeney, our executive producer, and with his degree in graphic design, would be able to lay out a whole detailed explanation for you. Why
I just want him to Photoshop in railings on everything. Bill, if you're listening, do this for me.
All right, we got to meet Jack Sore. What'd you think of Jack Sore? The real leader of Black Zero.
Scary.
Yeah.
Intense. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Again, Krypton's giving us great female characters, I think.
Well, it seems like, if Rao gets taken out, our choices of leading Kandor are between Darren Vex and Jack Sore, and I don't know if I like that.
I would throw Nyssa in the running. I feel like she could make a claim for it. She's young, but I feel like she could be a contender.
Yeah. Ooh, I have thoughts on how this season's going to go down. I have thoughts, but I don't want to
write them down, put them in an envelope, date it, and then we'll revisit.
All right. We gotta get moving. Is there anything more that you had for this episode that you want to throw out?
No. Mostly I'm riffing on silly stuff and less about plot because they talk so much, Ed. They talk so much. Also, no news on this.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no news on this. Okay. One thing I will say, they finally said that General Zod's first name is Drew, which I'm happy that I can actually give him a real name now and not just General.
What if General was his real name?
Mm-hmm.
Some celebrity is going to or has named their child General.
What is this, Family Matters?
Anyway,
he's on the stakeout with the lieutenant. I forget his last name. Lieutenant Hill. What's your first name? Lieutenant. That's an odd coincidence. Well, I changed it. I changed it a few years ago. Oh, what was it before? Sergeant. Actual joke.
Did you just quote a big chunk of Family Matters?
Yes, I did. Because I can't help myself. All right. That's enough of Krypton.
Anyway, no news for Krypton. We don't have a renewal or cancellation announcement. I was kind of thinking maybe sometime soon, but we'll see.
Yeah. Now, Sci-Fi is part of NBC Universal, and their upfronts next week are all the big where they announced to advertisers what their new fall lineups are going to be. You would think that we'd find out at least by Monday, but that's not because it's cable. I don't think it's hard and fast, so we may not. But I would like to find out by Monday.
Yes,
just saying. All right, moving on to Gotham, Season 4, penultimate episode, A Dark Night, One Bad Day. Jeremiah had his bombs scattered and gave Harvey 6 hours to evacuate the city before he would blow it up. Lee and the Riddler rescued Jim and planned to hold him hostage for leverage with the city. Oswald and Butch made an alliance with Babs and Tabitha to challenge Jeremiah. Jeremiah coaxed Bruce into a warehouse, hit him with scarecrow gas, and projected images of Alfred on the walls. Last-minute reveal, Jeremiah broke into Wayne Manor and shot Selina Kyle in the stomach.
That son of a bitch.
You dirty rats. I hate so much about the way you choose to be.
Did you just Michael Scott him?
Yes, I did. He looks like Toby. He looks enough like Toby.
He does kind of. He does.
So yeah, we got another Not the Joker this week. What'd you think?
I actually did not care for this Joker. I found him a little too laid back. I get the challenge for that actor because he can't be the Joker that he was. He has to be a different kind of Joker. And so he was way over the top. What does that leave you with? It leaves you with restrained. But I found it a little snoozy. What did you think?
Well, I think he was going for quiet crazy. You know,
only quiet came through for me.
I don't know. I think he turned up his eyes enough. I kind of bought it. I was more just focused on the makeup for some reason. I don't know. I was kind of like just entranced with that lipstick. I don't know.
It was really, really obvious lipstick. It made me wonder. I mean, I guess that's what happened when he was gassed, but it made me feel like he probably was very carefully applying it in a mirror before addressing his super irritating troops.
Yeah.
It felt like to me a Dark Knight Returns comic reference, because isn't there kind of a quasi evil police force in that belonging to one of the villains that they're sort of uniformed up? And to me, it actually reminded me of one of the few comics I've actually read more than once. And I was like, oh, hey, that looks like, I don't often get actual comic references. I have to read about them on the internet.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm vaguely remembered. It's been a while since I've read Dark Knight Returns. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely like the fact that he had foot soldiers. You could see that he's more organized. I thought Harvey had great moments.
I really worried for Harvey. For a second there, I thought Harvey was going to be the sacrificial lamb, and thank goodness that didn't happen. But he was great this week.
And
he got applause. They applauded him.
You know what's funny? Like, just like the minute that you got it out alive, like I just imagine like everyone has to buy that man a beer. Like he has to. Oh yeah. He has to be so drunk, he can't get home.
He maybe doesn't pay for drinks for the rest of the year.
Yeah. That's great move. Lee and Riddler's plan, I think that was kind of fleeting. I didn't really understand what was going on there. Like
Lee and Riddler have been hard to parse for me.
Well, also, like,
the last couple episodes.
If you're gonna hold Jim hostage, you know, one, don't share with him the stuff that you pulled out of Jeremiah's place. And two, don't wake him up. Just keep him sedated. You know?
It's better for everyone. But it's not better for establishing a love triangle.
I guess. I
did not expect to see the Riddler show Jim his big swinging dick about Lee. I was not prepared for that. Oh, we are together. Oh, no. Oh, that's awkward. Yeah. Can we talk quickly about Alfred?
Yeah.
That was upsetting.
You see, that whole thing felt like a direct reference to the Killing Joke. That whole thing.
Which I have not read and need to, because I know so much that inspires so much conversation and inspires actual, you know, art and entertainment.
Yeah,
but that was really upsetting.
Yeah, that is a story where the Joker shoots Barbara Gordon, paralyzing her, kidnaps Commissioner Gordon, and holds him hostage in an amusement park, and Bruce has to go in, and there's a whole thing of like a roller coaster that he goes through with all these images, and it looks very much like what the Scarecrow is showing with the projections on the screen and everything else. It's really, if you go to anyone who's seeking out, if you watch the animated movie, skip all the stuff with Barbara Gordon in the beginning, because it's a horrible thing. Just skip to like 20 minutes into that movie. And then they actually do the Killing Joke comic like straight through, like almost word for word and shot for shot. But just that book is so short. It was only like 40 minutes, so they had to front load it with all this backstory for Barbara Gordon. That anyone with like half a feminist twinge in them would just like immediately just
It's one of the reasons I haven't, actually, because I've read enough to know that it probably will angry up my blood.
Yeah.
But I still feel like I probably should read it just so I know, I want to make up my own mind.
Oh, yeah. None of that stuff I described is in the book. Like
okay.
You should read I was warning people about the animated movie that came out a couple of years ago. There was an animated
I do remember that hubbub.
Yeah.
Anyway, so with the Alfred thing, I honestly did not know that was a fake out at first. That was, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't too. I didn't either. Until finally Selena found that guy with the bag on his head, and I figured like, oh, okay, we're probably okay. But yeah, that was scary.
Ooh, yeah.
Genuinely scary. Very frightening.
I forget sometimes how dark that show can skew. As campy and over the top it is, it is pitch black sometimes. Yeah. Oh, I want to circle back to Jeremiah's look for a second. Okay. His eyes, stay with me on this, are basically vampire Brad Pitt in Interview with the Vampire. It creeps me out every time. I swear to God, it's Brad Pitt's contacts from Interview with the Vampire, 1994.
Oh. You know what? I really liked that movie when I was a sophomore in high school, and I haven't watched it since.
I freaking loved that movie when I was a senior in high school, and I've watched it many times since.
Okay. Does it hold up?
Actually, it does, I think. It's one of those movies, though, that I think I'm going to be fond of no matter what, so I'm not going to see its flaws. But I think Tom Cruise is an amazing Lestat, and I think it does.
Because a lot of people were very sketchy on Tom Cruise's performance.
I was when he was cast. I remember children gather round, pre-internet. The first look we had from that movie, which I was super excited about because I was a big fan of the books, couldn't see like leaked set photos on the internet. It was in sort of a National Enquirer type color tabloidy magazine. I cut that picture of Tom Cruise in Lestat garb out and hung it on my freaking bedroom wall. So exciting. It was a strange time, the early 90s. Strange time. Yeah.
All right, I think it's time to move on.
So Gotham.
Sorry, Gotham is.
We have no news about cancellation or renewal of Gotham, and I've actually been checking as we've been on the air just in case, because Fox is just in a mood. So nothing with that, but I will say an interview with the Gotham showrunners say that they wanted their Jeremiah Joker to be more like Hannibal Lecter. So Ed, you were talking about that quiet menace. That's exactly what they were going for. They pointed out though that he is not actually the Joker. So
God damn it.
Thanks, Gotham.
Thank you so much.
They also said they have a 6-episode arc planned for the final season, and they did not deploy it this season. So they are really banking on having one more season where they can pull out the final story that they want to tell for Gotham.
All right, so here's what I will say. If Gotham does not get renewed, this is not the case for Lucifer. I don't think Lucifer fits anywhere else. However, I do think that Gotham would fit on DC Universe. So then rather than fumbling with Netflix or anything else, if Gotham is canceled, I believe that you would get those last 6 episodes aired on DC Universe. Like, they would find a way to make that happen. Hey, sorry about that, guys. Had a bit of an audio issue there, but it's all fixed up, so we should be good to go now. Now, the last thing I believe I was making was I think that if Gotham does get canceled by Fox, we will get those 6 episodes, but I think that this would be a perfect thing to air on DC Universe.
And I hadn't thought about it before you mentioned it, but I 100% agree. I think it would actually drive subscribers over. I mean, I already was going to pay for DC Universe, but even if I was on the fence or, okay, if I can see the last run of Gotham, that would encourage me to do it. So that's actually really smart, I think, is to take an established property, move it over there, encourage people to catch what they're billing as the final 6 episodes that the showrunners wanted you to see. That makes really good sense to me. Not that I don't want that to happen, obviously, but it's a great way to spin it if you're DC Universe.
Yeah. Now, the other thing is we don't know if Gotham's going to get renewed yet. One factor that may be going through, I don't know if any of our listeners are also a fan of Lethal Weapon, the Lethal Weapon TV series.
I am.
Okay. Well, Clayne Crawford, the actor who plays Martin Riggs, was just fired off of that show for a couple of incidents of bad behavior. I think he was screaming at a crew member or just, chewed them out once. And then there was another one where he did something when he was directing an episode that potentially, hurt somebody and, put someone in put a stunt member in.
It feels like he maybe was a little too meta with his role as Riggs. Yeah.
So anyway, it's the kind of thing where, if you hear about 2, there's probably another 12 behind it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just evidently he just wasn't jiving with that show, so they've cut him loose. And Fox is basically giving them a deadline, you've got to recast this part or we're going to cancel the show. So my bet is the way the ratings are and everything else, and the fact that Fox is cancel happy now, and Lethal Weapon and Gotham are both owned by Warner Brothers and not Fox, which is the same case with what Lucifer was. If they're looking to cut stuff, my guess is that if Lethal Weapon does recast Martin Riggs, Gotham will probably get canceled. But if they do have to cancel Lethal Weapon because they don't recast Martin Riggs, then Gotham will probably be safe.
Solid. That's solid reasoning.
Mm-hmm. Now, that's pure conjecture on my part. I was talking to Bill Sweeney about this last night over the phone. But my guess is, if they were going to cancel Gotham anyway, having to cancel Lethal Weapon may save it. But if they renew Lethal Weapon, I don't know, but that's something to think about when we're waiting for those upfronts on Monday. Cool. All right. Anything more?
Fox gonna Fox.
Fox gonna Fox. All right. We are running way behind.
Super long.
Super long. Yeah, super long. And we have 1 episode left, and all the news and fun stuff. And I still didn't shout out all the suggestions for DCTVsummer, so we'll have to get to that too. So are you ready to go?
Ready to go.
All right, here goes. Arrow, Season 6, penultimate episode. The Ties That Bind. After Ricardo Diaz attacked every member of Team Arrow and their loved ones, Oliver approached Anatoly and tried to be smart with the team's response. Felicity refused to go into Argus' protective custody, and Oliver was wary about letting her stick with the team. Last-minute reveal, Oliver asked FBI agent Watson for help, admitted he was Green Arrow, and waited for her to name her second condition for offering assistance.
Okay, first of all, Diaz has some really bad hitmen. Just really bad assassins.
Yep.
Yeah, mostly that was it. That's it.
Yeah, okay. I thought some of the team building stuff was interesting. I liked the way they kind of like showed that Lila and John kind of have it figured out, even though they really haven't.
Oh, I thought they were great. I really liked watching them operate as a couple, and I kind of liked Felicity being like, "How do you do it? That's really good."
Oh, yeah, that part I thought was great, but it's funny, like just all the tension that Lila and Diggle's relationship has had over the past 6 seasons. It's funny to see them like now, like, oh, they're the ones who figured it out.
Well, they had a lot of trial and error. They had a journey to get there, but I like seeing them healthy and supportive and working well together. The two couples in the field was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Did you shed a tear when you saw them destroying the orrery?
A little.
Yeah.
Mostly, I wondered who is the contractor in Star City who specializes in bunkers, because that guy has to clean up.
Yeah, and I'm trying to figure out like what kind of building was the new Team Arrow housed in? Like what?
I don't know. I wondered that too. It seems like their headquarters sprung up really quickly, and again made me wonder who's doing the work on that, because that's a lot of complicated construction.
Because like the exterior of it, for some reason, it looked like an abandoned public school. I don't know why. It looked like a city.
That's not how it read to me, but I like that thought that. Mm-hmm. Star City is like Detroit, and there's all these abandoned buildings that they could just sort of move into. So you tear the team apart, and everybody hates everybody. But now, welcome to our bunker. I don't know. It feels like they've undone the team rift, and I guess I'm glad. But why did we have to go through all that? So we have a backup bunker, I guess. Ugh.
Yeah. Well, we have everyone's together now, which is as it should have been throughout the whole thing.
Yes.
I think I'm just glad that we finally got to the point where we're not trying to do that anymore. I thought the Curtis arc was really interesting. I liked his bit, that Nick got hurt and he went all out and then he got hurt and he, coming back, and then Black Canary had to be like, whoa, steady boy. I thought that storyline was cool. I thought the action in this was great. I liked the lead up. The only real letdown for me in this episode is the end, because like, what is Agent Watson going to do that Lila can't? Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about the resources Lila has at her disposal.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, and again, my disappointment lies in Diaz a little bit when they say, oh, Diaz's plan for everything. Prometheus' plan for everything. The time they spent with silly team squabbles, I think they could have spent building Diaz up to be a smarter and more cunning and more compelling villain. And I just am still not buying it. But it's nice to see Anatoly.
It was. Yeah. And another thing, I think the way they patched up that relationship worked well.
I just want them to be Bratva again. Be brothers, guys.
Mm-hmm. Lydia went down. Like, he is really rolling heads in the quadrant. I feel like this quadrant is not so imposing. Like,
yeah. And to me, that's part of my Diaz complaint. It feels like his killing is not as strategic. I feel like Prometheus did to prove a point, or when he had to. I hate to keep comparing it to Prometheus, but I mean, he was a great villain last season. And this just feels a little more petty and unpredictable, and it's a little bit more like having a psychopath in charge of the city. And I guess maybe that's the point. Prometheus was a controlled kind of psychopath. Diaz is just, I don't know, like a child throwing tantrums.
Yeah. See, I do like the idea of the quadrant, like as a concept of just this no frills. We're an organized crime, but we run it like a corporation, like run it like a business. Kind of like, I've been rereading the Parker novels. I don't know if you're into that, but the way they refer to the outfit, in that, it's this kind of like cold meaning, like we run an organization. We keep track of profit and loss. We pay taxes on anything legal we do. We just happen to deal in guns and booze and gambling and
I'm going to go the end of Fargo season 2. But okay, same idea.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Fargo. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. I think that with Arrow could be really cool, but the way that they kind of like backdoored it in here, like, I feel like this should have been, we should have been hearing about the quadrant from the beginning.
Yeah, too little, too late. With all of the DS stuff, too little, too late.
Mm-hmm. All right.
But I wasn't as virulently opposed to this episode as I have been with others in the past, so yay.
Yeah, no, I think this was a lot like, for a penultimate episode, you want all that action packed, you want the lead up in there. Even though it feels like the stuff that they're dealing from the deck is not as strong, I don't mind it as much.
But the Diggles and the Queens on a double date to take down bad guys, that's cool. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, there's a lot to like in this episode. I think the thing that fails this is the overall arc of the season. But as an episode itself, it's really good.
Yeah. Overall arc of the season, you have failed this city.
All right.
Okay, no news for Arrow. Do you want me to go through the news as superhumanly fast as I can for the rest of the shows?
Yeah, break it down.
Okay. Legends of Tomorrow. Interview with the showrunner says that the next season they will experience a betrayal from a member of the team that will affect the show's DNA. So something big coming down the pike for the Legends.
I will say this. If that betrayal comes from Mick, it doesn't count.
I kind of feel the same way. I mean, he's a given. It's got to be somebody else.
Yeah.
It's got to be somebody else. Let's see. Titans on the DC Universe streaming platform. We have leaked set photos of Minka Kelly as Dove, and they look better than the leaked set photos we saw of the other cast members a couple weeks ago, but they don't look as good as the promo shot they sent out. Of course, why would they?
No. I mean, it's just a random shot of her on a street, and it's not as flattering. I wasn't even sure that she was in makeup. I don't even know if that was a set photo or if she was just like hanging around outside her trailer or something.
In her wig, in her terrible white wig.
I mean, is that a wig, or did they just bleach, like really like platinum bleach her hair?
Oh, if they did, I feel really bad for the health of her hair.
Oh, it's probably a wig then. I don't know about hair. I just cut it when I have to.
You're such a boy.
But the joke I did say, we a lot of people were making fun of Starfire, saying that she looked like a prostitute, like an 80s prostitute. And in this case, I would say that, from this shot, from the horrible angle that they got, Minka Kelly doesn't look like an 80s prostitute. She looks like a woman who was a prostitute in the 1980s.
Like today, like we would talk to her today and she'd be like, oh, let me tell you kids, let me tell you about the 80s, the corner.
Oh, she's got stories.
The things I've seen, these young girls today don't know how good they got it.
Yeah. But whatever, it's fine. I reserve the right to wait until I see the show.
Or at least the promo photos they put out intentionally.
Exactly, because I think the Hawk and Dove that we already got looked really cool.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
And that's what made me so confused when we saw the leaked photos of the other cast, because the Hawk and Dove looked so good. So, yeah, we'll see. I'm sure they're throwing money at it. They got to get our subscription dollars somehow. Last bit of news for the week is Watchmen. The working title for the show on HBO is Brooklyn. And Ed and I talked about this off air. I think that means working title, like the thing they're calling it to kind of throw people off the scent of it being Watchmen, which didn't work because we're talking about it now.
Yeah.
Right. So Like how Doctor Who was Torchwood as the working title because it's an anagram of Doctor Who, and then it became a spinoff that was good for a while.
Yeah. Now, no word on where this is filming, right?
Not that I recall. Were you up on that?
No, but I will say, like, the Watchmen comic book looks like it was Toronto filmed for New York. So my guess is that this is definitely shooting in Canada somewhere. But if it actually is in Brooklyn,
Canada, York.
Although HBO didn't Boardwalk Empire shoot in a studio in Brooklyn? I think that's right.
That's a show I never watched. I will say my favorite thing about the Highlander TV show is that they just gave up trying to pretend that Vancouver was Seattle and they just called it Seacouver. Like the town Duncan MacLeod lived in was Seacouver, and it was incredible. They just leaned into it. Why are all your signs in the metric system on the street signs? Because it's Seacouver, bitches. Good stuff.
Oh, Highlander.
That's the second Highlander reference I've made.
That TV show is the only part of that saga that made sense. Like
the first movie was beautiful, and I will physically fight you.
Oh, it was, but like the sequel makes the first movie.
Oh
totally
yeah. What movie are you talking about? There is no second movie. I don't understand.
Oh, you don't remember Highlander 2, The Quickening?
No, I've never heard. There is no second movie, Ed. There's no second movie. There's no aliens. There's no second movie. There's no second Highlander movie.
You've never seen the Renegade cut?
There is no Renegade cut. There's no second movie. It goes Highlander 1, and then we have the TV show, and at no point is there like a fourth movie that came out in 1999. That didn't happen either. None of it happened.
There was a third one, too, with Mario Van Peebles. Just saying.
Yes, I know there was. There was the first movie, and there was the TV show, and then there was the spinoff, The Highlander Raven, following Amanda, and that was great, too. That's all I recognize. This is why this podcast is 2.5 hours long this week.
Sorry. Moving on. I have to put Watchmen/Highlander in the description.
Worth it. We don't talk about Adrian Paul enough on here. Or Christopher Lambert.
It's pronounced Lambert.
That's right, he's Scottish. Don't forget it. Okay, do you want to do the winner of the week?
Oh, that's it for the news?
No, that's it. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, all right. 2 quick things. We did have 2 suggestions for DCTVsummer. By the way, if you have a suggestion for what we should do in the off time, you can tweet us at DCTV Reports, hashtag at DCTVsummer. At Deke273 has 2 things. He recommends that we watch the 1982 Swamp Thing movie, the Swamp Thing sequel, and then the USA Network's old Swamp Thing TV show from the 90s, or the entire run of the Adam West Batman series.
I'm frankly startled that there's that much Swamp Thing content out there.
Oh man, this was USA in the 90s when they just needed content. They had 3 full seasons of that show. I think it's like 70 episodes.
Oh my god.
I think some of the reruns are on MeTV if you have that channel. If you can find
I'm gonna certainly look.
Yeah. I think if you go Saturday mornings, they usually have Swamp Thing up there. He also asks, is Scooby-Doo considered part of the DC universe since they print the comic books? If so, I would like to suggest Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, 2 seasons, 52 episodes. Hashtag DCTVsummer. I mean, they do print the comics. I would consider that a licensed property. DC Comics prints Scooby-Doo comics because Warner Brothers owns Hanna-Barbera. And there was a line of Hanna-Barbera comics that came out recently, some of which were really good, some of which were terrible. But I would not consider that part of like DC continuity, because then I think also if you did that, then Looney Tunes would also be part of DC, the DC universe.
Would that also include Tiny Toons?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because Warner Brothers owns that too. I think that just opens up a whole can of worms, and I need to cut this off in the past because if we go any further, then Agent Palmer will have his opening for Darkwing Duck.
Well, that gets you to Animaniacs, which gets you to Pinky and the Brain. So, I mean, it really does open the door to a lot of delightful things that are way outside of our mandate, I suspect. And yeah, Palmer right now is tweeting about Darkwing Duck. Right now. I can hear his fingers on his keyboard.
Yeah, so, and I would stick this to stuff that originated in DC Comics, or at least in comics as a medium. Vertigo, Wildstorm, those kinds of things. But
I do think talking about the Scooby-Doo live action movie would be really fun.
You think that?
Matthew Lillard is an amazing, amazing Shaggy, and I think he needs to be celebrated for that more than he is.
You know what? The first trailer for that movie made me, it was a fake out, made you think it was a Batman movie, and it wasn't. And that was right after Batman. You've never
forgiven them?
No, I haven't. I still haven't. I haven't seen that movie because of that trailer. Just saying.
I appreciate your grudge holding. That's impressive.
I'm Irish. What do you say? It's not... All right. Winners for the week.
I'm going to keep mine really simple. Charlotte Richards on Lucifer. Charlotte, played by Tricia Helfer, amazing character. Got to do a lot of fun, dramatic, sad, tender, impressive work. That character went through so many arcs, had a great run, wore gorgeous clothes, did it all like a boss. Amazing performance by Tricia Helfer as Charlotte Richards in Lucifer. I salute you, ma'am. Thank you for being on my TV for 2 seasons.
I say ye, Charlotte Richards. My winner for this week is Scarecrow Gas. Not the Scarecrow, because he got taken out like a punk bitch. But his gas.
Fearsome.
Yeah. It was frightening. I got taken in. I forgot where I was. I thought that was really scary. Like, it brought me back to how afraid I was the first time I saw the boat ride in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Like, that was... yeah.
Scary.
Yeah, it was scary. And, that's my winner for the week.
You're right. All that scene lacked was Gene Wilder's really freaky high-pitched singing. It's true.
There's no earthly way of knowing.
Well, right. That's been your 8-hour-long DCTV report.
All right, we need to end this. Thank you so much, everybody. That's the DCTV report for this week. You can find us on Twitter. I'm at Edward O'Hare, TBD.
And I'm at Sara Netzley, SaraNetzley.
And be sure to follow the show on Twitter at DCTV Report. Send along your emails to dctv@wickedtheory.com. We didn't get any this week. Come on, send them in. Also, be sure to subscribe to our show in your podcast app of choice. And please rate and review us if you can. Those ratings and those reviews, especially on Apple Podcasts, that boosts our profile and makes it easier for other people to find us. You could check out our sister shows, the Wicked Theory Podcast and Preacher vs. Preacher. This has been a Wicked Theory Studios production. Executive producer Bill Sweeney. Visit us on wickedtheory.com. Shazam, everybody.
Shazam.
Shazam.